Well, you know things are bad when a commercial breaks a precedent. Forget missiles or sanctions, all it took was one ad, one World Series, and one maple-fueled mic drop.
Yep, Donald Trump accused Canada of cheating and said Ontario used AI to fake a Ronald Reagan speech.
Yeah, he literally said we cheated with AI.
That guy lies more than a mattress.
Here's the truth. The speech was real, straight from the Reagan Foundation archives. Trump's throwing his usual tantrums, halting trade talks, and ranting about dirty play.
Meanwhile, Canada's just sitting back here saying, "Oh, bless your heart, Donnie."
So today, we are breaking down how one ad backed by Doug Ford, boosted by Mark Carney, and echoed by David Eby managed to rattle the White House.
Yep, Canada didn't back down. We broke the game.
Picture this. Game 1 of the World Series. Millions of people watching. Jays versus Dodgers. Just as America's glued to the screen, mid-popcorn bite, bam! An Ontario government ad drops.
Not just any ad. It's Ronald freaking Reagan talking about tariffs. He warned that protectionism leads to job losses and economic collapse. This is the same Ronald Reagan Republicans used to worship.
Except now, Trump's team calls it misleading, egregious, and fake, which is hilarious because you can literally go to the Ronald Reagan Foundation website and watch the full speech, word for word. No AI, no deepfake, just good old-fashioned truth.
Yeah, Doug Ford dropped $75 million to air that ad in red states. And boy, did it hit a nerve. Ontario launched this campaign way back on October 14th.
They've been quietly seeding it all through the Major League Baseball playoffs, testing the message and watching Trump's pressure points. But instead, the petulant child grabbed his phone and rage posted on Truth Social.
And what did he say? The Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negative about tariffs. The ad was for $75,000. They only did this to interfere with the decision of the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you for this attention in this matter. Come on. What is this? The hostage note or the Hunger Games? You know, he could have walked away with a win. That's what's ironic here. But instead, he torched a deal that would have helped both countries. Because, you know, a TV ad hurt his ego.
So this "we're done negotiating with Canada" thing, that's not a tough guy strategy. That's a late-night tantrum in a dementia dream tweeting while lost in the halls of the White House.
I can just see him. And let's be real. The ad was not propaganda, people. It was a mirror. Trump saw himself in it, and he didn't like the reflection.
So what does he do? He cancels all trade talks with Canada. Imagine being that fragile. You're supposed to be leading the free world, but a Reagan quote breaks you like a snowflake on a July sidewalk.
And you know, we said it before. You cannot make this stuff up. Trump called the ad crooked and said, "They could have pulled it tonight, but I can play dirtier than they can." Bro, you are already dirtier than an oil spill in Alabama.
And here's the kicker, Dave. Trump told reporters Canada cheated with AI. Total fiction. Excuse me? The clips in that ad were from an actual Reagan address in 1987. And Reagan wasn't ranting randomly. He was talking about one specific case, Japan dumping computer chips and breaking a trade deal. He said he was loath to even use tariffs.
Loathe. That's Reagan's word. Meanwhile, Trump hands out tariffs like Halloween candy to anybody who hurts his feelings. Denmark for not selling Greenland, Mexico for existing, and Canada for all of our resources.
But here's where Canada flipped the script. Ford and Carney didn't panic. They were playing the long game while Trump was trying to steal third base with no clue where the ball was.
And Ford's response, I thought that was perfect. We've achieved our goal. Americans are finally debating what kind of economy they want. He literally said the quiet part out loud. He said that this ad was aimed straight into Republican-held areas. The Reagan Republicans are going to be fighting with the MAGA group, and I hope the Reagan Republicans win.
He targeted Trump's own base using Reagan, the GOP's holy relic, to peel them all away from MAGA. And that wasn't an accident, that was surgical.
And look, it takes a con man to take down a con man, right? Ford's no saint. He's slippery as they come. But when it comes to Canada, he actually gives a damn. And for this trade war, I'm happy that he's in our corner.
And then, just to twist the knife politely, Ford says he'll pause the campaign after the weekend. You know, after it airs 2 more times during the World Series.
He also said, and I'm paraphrasing, "We've already hit the highest levels in America. We'll pause the ad Monday so trade talks can restart."
In other words, we lit the match, we let it burn on prime time, and now we'll play polite. And besides, Trump did the work for us already. He made that clip go viral around the world thanks to his dementia-fueled tantrum.
The man turned a 1-minute ad into a global headline. Talk about doing our PR for us.
So our work is done. The message landed, and now we look reasonable. Meanwhile, Carney drops a diplomatic masterclass at a press conference on his way to Asia. He calmly talks to reporters, using full sentences. He says, "We can't control U.S. trade policy, but we can control what we build here at home and who we partner with abroad. Our people have been working hard with the American government to help both Canadians and Americans, and we stand ready to pick up on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions."
This was such a polite Canadian way of saying, call us when an adult is in the chair. And while he's doing that, Canada is investing billions at home in nuclear, steel, critical minerals, and building new trade with the economic giants in Asia.
That was such a subtle jab if there ever was one. Carney didn't have to say Trump's name, but the message was clear. The U.S. isn't the only power in the room anymore.
That's right. There are other players now. Bigger markets, calmer heads, and leaders who actually believe in partnership instead of threats.
The message to Trump is clear. Canada's moving on, and the world's moving with us. While Trump's yelling on Truth Social, Carney's laying out a strategy, pivoting to Asia, diversifying trade, and protecting Canadian workers. It's diplomacy on one side and daycare on the other.
And the irony? Reagan was warning about Trump 40 years ago. Because what we're watching now isn't patriotism, it's sabotage. Trump isn't protecting America, he's dismantling it. He's working for foreign powers, targeting his enemies, and tearing down the very house he was elected to defend.
He's not America first, he's America's for sale. He hates the country that put him in charge. From gutting institutions to funding sketchy ventures overseas, he's doing everything he can to weaken the U.S. piece by piece.
And you know what? That is not leadership, people. That is not a patriot. He's a patsy. Reagan said, when someone says, let's impose tariffs, it looks patriotic. But markets shrink, jobs vanish, and economies collapse. And that's the line Trump doesn't want you to hear.
And before the MAGA comments start flooding in, yes, Reagan sometimes used tariffs, but here's the difference. Reagan said tariffs were a last resort to force fairness, and he openly warned Americans not to fall for cheap nationalism. His words. He literally called protectionism a cheap form of nationalism. Ronald Reagan said that. Not AOC, not Bernie Sanders, Ronald Reagan.
And today, Trump is out here selling economic nationalism like it's a reality show merch drop. He's not protecting workers, he's performing patriotism on TV. And his base is falling for it as they foreclose on their house.
And the fallout was instant. The White House claimed Canada isn't serious. No, buddy. We're just not submissive.
And governors like Gavin Newsom and Josh Shapiro jumped right in there, saying Trump's tariffs are hurting their own states. Pennsylvania alone exports $14 billion to Canada. 30,000 jobs depend on that trade. But Trump would rather torch the economy than admit that Reagan's ghost is right. And then there was NBC and CNN. They ran with it. Every headline screaming, Trump ends trade talks over ad. Even CBC insiders said Carney's team didn't see it coming. And who would? The ad's been running since October 14th. It wasn't new, it wasn't a secret, but apparently it took Trump a full week to find the remote. So when he finally saw it, boom, meltdown mode. He didn't outsmart anyone, he just freaked out late.
Yep, so to recap, Canada's negotiating in good faith. Ford's wrapping up the ad, and Carney's already on a plane to Asia, and Trump's just discovering television.
You know, this is not stable behavior by Trump. This is not art of the deal. This is, I just got heckled and now everyone's gonna pay.
Meanwhile, Fox, as usual, tried to spin it, calling it foreign interference or fake news. But then they played the ad over and over and over again, every segment, every hour. They basically gave Ford millions in free airtime while pretending to be outraged.
It's like banning a book by putting it on the bestseller list, right? And let's not forget, while Trump rages, other countries are actually watching. The EU, Japan, even Mexico. If Canada can stand up, so can we.
Canada just handed the world a playbook for dealing with a bully. Step 1, don't bow. Step 2, be polite, but lethal.
And look at the contrast on economic brains as well. Reagan said trade wars are dangerous and can spiral. And Trump brags that trade wars are good and easy to win.
One of those men warned about the Depression. The other doesn't seem totally clear on what the Great Depression actually was. Reagan blamed massive tariffs in the 1930s for making the Depression worse. Trump literally said, the Depression would have never happened if tariffs had stayed higher. Yeah, and the Titanic would have floated if they just added more ice.
But don't worry, because help is on the way. From the West Coast, enter BC's David Eby. Eby saw the chaos and said, here, hold my lumber. He's launching his own ads calling out how BC faces higher US tariffs than Russia. It's absurd. Truth will win, he said.
So now that the West Coast's getting in on the action, Trump, you've got Ontario and BC, California and Pennsylvania tag-teaming your hypocrisy. And they're using your own hero's words to do it.
That's the beauty of it, right? Reagan's ghost just became Canada's campaign manager. The irony is Shakespearean. Trump wanted to make America great again, but now American presidents past are being weaponized against them.
And the kicker? The Reagan Foundation had to issue a statement, not denying the speech, but begging people to stop using Reagan to fact-check Trump.
Imagine that, the party of Reagan crying because Reagan's words make their current guy look like a toddler with tariffs.
Trump's excuse tour went from bad to worst. We got cheated. They used AI. That's a lie. They're playing dirty. But the audio is Reagan, 1987 public record, buddy. You're the one who uses AI to generate your brain cells.
He even claimed that Canada is trying to illegally influence the US Supreme Court. Let me repeat that. He's accusing Canada of interfering with his Supreme Court case by quoting Ronald Reagan on tariffs. This guy lies so much, he makes Pinocchio look like a truth teller.
He cannot handle the idea that Americans might hear Reagan explain the truth, that tariff wars kill jobs. Because once people hear Reagan say that, they might stop buying his sales pitch.
And that's why he's panicking. He's not defending American workers, he's defending his own ego. And the second his ego took a hit from Canada, he blew up talks like a sulking mob boss. No trade for you!
Every time he's cornered, he invents a new villain. First it was Trudeau. Now it's AI. Next week it'll be the ghost of John Candy plotting against him from the afterlife. Because apparently everyone's out to get him, including Canada's nicest guy.
And the best part, Canadians didn't even flinch. We just said, all right, we'll sell our aluminum to Asia instead. As we said before, Canada's economy is diversifying and the boycott of the US booze is really biting back.
America's losing revenue, losing credibility, and losing control because Trump can't handle losing an argument to Doug Ford. And as for that Jays World Series, the Jays trounced the Dodgers in Game 1. But either way, Trump lost because whether it's California or Canada, both sides of the border just reminded him, you can't bully your allies forever, dude.
He hates California, he hates Canada, because both places stand for the same thing. Freedom, compassion, and people who don't take orders from wannabe dictators.
No matter who wins, both sides of the border are fighting back together against Trump's nonsense, from Toronto to Sacramento.
Even Gavin Newsom and Doug Ford got in on it. They made a friendly bet before the series. Ford said if the Jays win, he'll send maple syrup. Newsom replied if California wins, he'll send wine, if Ontario will put it back on the shelves.
But Ford's comeback? I don't think so, buddy. Talk to your friend in the Oval Office.
I love that. That's the kind of international diplomacy that we can get behind. Bold, petty, and perfectly Canadian.
In the end, it's not just about baseball. It's about who still believes in fair play. Whether it's California or Canada, the message is the same. Democracy bats last.
So here's our message to the White House. Don't mess with Canada, Donnie.
Because this is bigger than baseball. It's a win for democracy.
And Canada just hit a grand slam.
And before we wrap up, one last thing. Reporters asked Mark Carney if Trump had called to make a World Series bet.
And what was his answer? I think he's afraid to make a bet. He doesn't like to lose.
That's how you handle a bully, with confidence and a smile.
Carney's literally on his way to Asia for trade talks, cracking jokes about finding an Asian man cave to watch the Jays game, while Trump is busy rage posting about Ronald Reagan.
The contrast says it all. One guy's leading a country, the other's losing it on social media.
So to recap, Canada stood its ground, called out the nonsense, and still found time for baseball.
Jays in 6.
Woohoo! And democracy still batting 1,000.
So make sure to hit subscribe and click on that bell and wear your Keep Calm and Carney On merch very proudly during the World Series.
Because when Trump plays dirty, we play smart.
And a smart Canada always wins. Leave your thoughts in the comments and let us know what you think about all of this craziness on social media.
Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.